we have Tessa again in training. This is her third session, I believe, and the arena was quite busy today. So you're going to see a lot of behavior from her due to the other horses in there, which is good. You're going to have a chance to see how I work with the behaviors that she is showing. So for the circling this time, I used targets, 2 sets of 2 cones for her to aim for, to give her something to focus inside the circle. Sometimes we use barrels, a couple barrels for them to go in between or to jump over, and I can show that in a different session. But right now I want her to focus on the 2 targets that she is to go between. And you can see she's not always paying attention to what's going on inside that circle. She's kind of looking at everything else, and she gets upset if I interrupt her pattern where the direction she thinks she'd like to go, which a lot of times is outside of that circle. So just being patient and consistent. Little tugs and big releases every time. You can see that rope become very loose every time that her nose does come in, every time that she does respond to some pressure. And we're just going to be consistent here until she starts to see that pattern. We don't want to pick too big of a fight at this point in her training. A lot of direction changes. You can see the direction change is happening on the long side of each of those circles, the area where there are not targets. Again, to give her something to pay attention to on the inside of the circle that I'm creating. Sometimes round pen work can become a little bit of a crutch when we're working with the horse because it forces them into a circle without really getting their mind into it. This exercise is really good for getting the horse's mind involved and helping them develop some responsibility in that circle instead of being forced into a circle. So as she gets too close to me inside that circle, I'm using the stick as some rhythmic pressure between myself and her to create space, sending her back out. The direction changes are looking a lot better. You can see when my hand goes up, her nose goes. That's what I'm looking for. When I draw back from her, when I step away from her and tug on that rope, pull on that rope, I would like to see 2 eyes from her and a question. I want her to ask me which direction she would like me to go. You see, bending over to yield the hindquarters is huge. Again, bringing her in. Yielding the hindquarters is a very effective tool when the horse is circling. So, jumping over here to, you can see right before when I pulled her in, she was being a little bit more responsible. She was looking for those targets and she was softening up. That's the point where I would get on and I would trust to start riding her. Now this horse is already broke to ride. She does have a lot of resistance in areas. So right now I'm going to test her flexion from the ground, which is safer as I don't know her. I think this is the first time I've gotten on her. So a lot of tugs and releases when I need her to flex. And when she moves away, just stay consistent. Stay by her shoulder, which is a safe spot. I'll release the pressure when I feel her trying to move her nose into me. So you really want to watch your horse. Watch for the response and let your release be your response to her try. Not necessarily her doing the exact right thing, but watch for the horse's try and release the pressure to that. Your horse will become a lot more motivated to work for you. I like to test her ability to stand still when I get on, bouncing a little bit. So this is the first ride, because it's the first ride of me and her, not necessarily her first ride, and because there's a lot of busy traffic in here, I'm just going to take things kind of slowly, testing her flexion again. What I'm trying to do right here is 1 rein stops on both sides. This is the first thing that we teach all of our horses, or make sure at least they know, they understand, for safety purposes. When the horse's nose is bent to the inside, they can't run away, they can't move forward. If I were to have an emergency on this horse in any way, as long as I can bend the nose to the inside, I am safer. I'm able to keep her in a smaller circle. I'm able to keep her focused to what I'm asking her to do. All right, so when I do ask her to come in, you can see she threw some resistance in there. My pressure is just going to get bigger tugs, and then much smaller tugs the instant she tries to respond to it. In the process of this, I'm going to slide my hand down that rope in connection with her nose and bring it across my body to the opposite shoulder. That's the direction my hand is pulling, and I'm looking for her head to come around in the direction of my knee. And I want her to stop. I don't want her to keep moving. I'm going to keep my legs off of her side, and when she brings her nose to my knee, to her side, and she is not moving, that's the time I will release, pet her, let her walk off. That's the point to relax, and we want to look for that. We want her to get me to stop bothering her with that pressure on the face by moving her head around. And she picked up on it fairly quickly. There were still some resistant thoughts. The next exercise I'm going to put her in is a figure 8. So we have our 2 targets that I'm going to utilize. In the middle of those 2 targets, I'm going to stop every time. This is going to create a predictable pattern for her to stick with. She's going to feel smart because she knows where to go. This is a great pattern for horses that have go problems. So horses that are a little bit more slowy than go-y, this is a really good exercise for them to be motivated to get to that center point to stop and wait. They're going to want to move forward so that they can stop in the middle. I'm using a lot of soft pressure, a lot of shaking the rope, sending vibrations down the rope, the reins on both sides. Now she is only in a rope halter right now, and that's the way I like to start them, just so that they can develop the sensitivity to pressure. Some horses do have damage in their mouths due to bits as well, so this can tell me a lot about the horse without actually having anything that may be causing damage in the mouth. So it's a little hard to see in the video. It's a little blurry, and I know it's a little far away, but when I'm sitting deep in the saddle, that's my asking her to stop. And when I wiggle my legs against her side, that's the action for movement, to back up. My hands are just keeping her from going forward in that backup. So right here, I'm just moving around. I want to see her ability to stand, her ability, how desensitized she is to me up there. She's doing really well. This was really a very simple thing, and there's a lot of horses in here, so I don't want to push it. So that is all for today. Keep it short. It's a great session for this horse, and I hope to post more soon.